Hello, everybody. Welcome to the revision of some tenses. And of course, which tenses will we focus on? First of all, simple past, the past progressive, the present perfect simple, and the present perfect progressive. So let's start with the simple past. You know that you use it when the action is over, and you form the tense either with the regular form ed at the end or some irregular form that you have to learn by heart, unfortunately, but this is your job. Signal words you are familiar with, and an example sentence would be yesterday I visited regular or I went to irregular Munich. You must be very careful when it comes to negation, so the negative form, and questions, because you need always need an auxiliary. And if there is no other auxiliary Hilfsverb present in the sentence, you form the negation and the questions with did or didn't, as in the example sentences. The past progressive you use when you talk about something that happened at a certain point in the past. You use it either with was or were plus the verb plus the ing form, and the verb plus ing form is the present participle. Example sentence. Yesterday at 2 p.m., so a certain point in the past, I was doing the dishes. Very often, the past progressive is linked to while. So in this sentence here, while I was doing the dishes, my sister was doing her homework. So two actions at a certain point in the past happening at the same time, but also very common is while I was doing the dishes. So something was happening at a certain point in the past. Something new happened, and the new thing is always expressed with the simple past. So while I was doing the dishes, my dad came home. Here, negation and questions are easier because was not and were not is the negative form, and questions was, were plus subject, so a noun or or a pronoun plus the present participle. Were they doing the homework at 2 p.m. would be an example. The present perfect simple is a bit more complicated because there is no one-to-one equivalent in German. As you already know or should know, you use it when you talk about something that happened in the past, and you very often, not always, but you very often see the result. As in the example here, I have broken my leg, so I can't walk properly, or I haven't done my homework yet. Ich habe die Hausaufgabe noch nicht gemacht, so I haven't finished. You form it with has or have plus the past participle form. That, again, you have to learn. In our case here, example, it would be go, infinitive, went, simple past form, and past participle form, gone. Signal words very often, but sometimes also used with other tenses, but primarily, hauptsächlich, used with a present perfect simple, yet, ever, already, just. Questions? Have, has, plus subject, plus past participle. So, have you finished your homework yet? Has she ever been to Munich? As in our examples, yeah? The present perfect progressive, the last form we're looking at here, is something started in the past and is still going on in the present. Very important, yeah? And a bit difficult because you don't have that one-to-one in German. So, as in the example, I have been doing my homework for 3 hours. You see the little word for here. There is a very important distinction between since, which stresses a point in time, for example, yesterday at 2 o'clock, and for, time span. So, for example, for 3 hours, as in our example. Um, the way you form the present perfect progressive is, as you already know, has, have, plus been, plus verb, plus ing form. So the present participle at the end again. I and you negate it with not, or the short form, haven't, hasn't, and the question, as usual, the auxiliary has, have, plus subject, plus the form been, plus verb, plus ing form again. Very important here is the differentiation between dynamic verbs, like think, grow, work. Um, Everything where something is happening, where action is happening. These verbs can be used with the present perfect progressive. State verbs like believe, know, and some others, they must go with the simple form. So even if you would use it, or if you would use it in some cases in the present perfect progressive form, you can't use this because use them in the present perfect progressive because they are state verbs. So you must be very careful here. At the end, I've got a little summary again. Simple past, a certain point in the past. In our case, I climbed a very high mountain when I was 20. The present perfect simple, she has already climbed a very high mountain. So something, you did that in a certain year or at a certain time, and it has an effect on the present because you have already done so. You've got some experience, for example. Present perfect progressive, I have been working on this experiment for 2 days as an example of something that started in the past and is still going on in the present. And the last aspect, the past progressive, in our example, while I was climbing on a tree, my father was working in the garden. So 2 actions happening at the same time. Or while I was climbing on a tree, my father came home. So something new happened, which then is expressed in the simple past. All right, people, I hope that was something you benefit from. You have a certain overview, and if you have questions, please contact me again. I wish you all the best and see you when it comes to revision of the tenses part 2.